today we're going to talk about demand and supply, right? And of course, if you're following the news, you'll realize that government has been talking about, ramping up the supply and all these things. So what does this really mean for you today as a consumer?
So let's dive in. So before we start, same thing. Everything we say is based on our own opinion. If you really want to buy a property or look into the property market, please seek professional advice or maybe look for us. We are happy to share with you more in depth.
Yeah. So of course, if you have been following the headline, right? If you're following the news, lately a lot of headline has been saying that the government is actually ramping up the supply. So when you read all this kind of news, right, the first some of the buyers might be thinking, wow, there's so many supply upcoming. Will the prices actually drop?
Yeah, so when we start to hear the ramping up supply, right, then the next thing they will say, hey, is it going to be oversupply?
Yes.
So when the oversupply, people will ask, will the price drop? So should I wait or should I take a look and see what is the next step? So this is the one thing that we have to understand. Actually, by ramping up supply, right, it's not it's not about the government is going to create an oversupply situation, because today what governments use this demand controlling the supply, right, is actually to manage the price so that it will not be so hot in the market.
I think the government role, right, usually for Singapore government, what they're trying to do, they're trying to balance out. So of course they will not want an oversupply situation, but they also cannot afford an undersupply situation.
Correct. Yeah. So because when the price goes too high, it's very the spike is too high, right? Then it's not a good situation.
Yes.
Then people will start to be unhappy.
Correct.
So today we just want to understand what is this supply really mean? Because we want to learn more in depth, right? What this actually affects the property market. So one thing just now we actually mentioned, right? When we talk about supply, ramping up supply, people will think that, hey, a lot of unit is coming out. So like just this person, like whenever you will say, wow, so many houses are going to come out in the market.
Yeah.
But one thing you don't realize, actually when they say ramp out, like wow, there's going to be 5,000 house coming, another 5,000 unit, 8,000 unit, whatever, right? It is on the news, right? Doesn't mean the next day the 8,000 unit coming. Because all these actually take some time. For example, today when government announced like by 2028 or 20, there will be this amount like doesn't mean the next day 20 to 30,000 the house will come in. It might take like maybe 3 to 5 years to make this be ready for people to stay. These are the things that you need to know. So supply is a land release today, but home to 3 years later.
Correct. So of course supply, when we look at supply, sometimes the key thing when the government talk about upcoming supply, right, the first thing they will do is release the land first. Then they will roughly know, right, this land how many units will be built. Then of course the construction takes some time, and then when it's released or next time when for example HDB, right, when MOP, then it can be sold.
So these are the time that when they say launch, right, it means let people to buy first and wait.
Yes.
Unless you are looking at the resale market. So what is done ramping up supply is usually new units. So meaning is to take away some of the demand from the resale market, the secondary market. Because when the second market becomes too hot, government also don't want. So they will usually want to use this new supply to actually balance out. Yes. Because usually when the newer supply, right, definitely cheaper.
Yes.
Especially the BTO, it will be subsidized flat. So it will be always about 100 to 200k cheaper than the surrounding resale. So this will actually let people say, hey, Dylan, should I wait for should I take a bite the bullet to buy something cheaper that about 100 to 200k cheaper? And don't buy the resale. So that's where we start to see a slowdown in transaction in the resale market. Because I think the one thing the government don't want is a COV situation. Because cash over valuations is something that it happens when the market is too hot. For example, during COVID, when the supply chain was disrupted, right? There's no new to build. There is no ready flat that for people to purchase. When everyone went to, there's no BTO announcement, no balloting, so people will go to resale because they need a house. And then there's also behavior disruption. That's work for home. Then now people feel that the house is too small.
Yes.
Then I need another room to make to an office so that I can have my own space to work, right? So they need extra room. So the only thing they can do is to upgrade to a bigger house or a house that has additional space for them to work.
At the end day, right, I think the government wants to keep HDB still so-called affordable. I think that's one of their number one.
Then also, I always remember during COVID, right, after the things start to release, like that more people can go viewing, right? Wow, I tell you, the resale, once you put a unit out for sale, right,
a lot of people,
definitely if your price, especially if your price is very acceptable range, not the over high one, your phone will explode. 10 to 20 viewings in just the weekend,
Usually can do open house easily.
Then after that, the house will sold on the day one. There will be 6 or 8 offers one, and usually will go up the listed price one. That's where people start to say, oh, I sold above our listed price. Because that's the time when the market is very hot. So right now, I think we have start to stabilize because government is start to releasing a lot of more houses for people to buy. Also, in terms of the private sector, there is more government land sales for the condos. That's why you see all the new launch. There's more new launches coming up. So now the next topic will be like, what is demand? Where does the demand come from? So usually demand, it means who will buy from me.
Correct.
So where are the main people who really... So you must understand that different people have different life stages. It's not like today, suddenly the whole market hype, then suddenly I want to buy a house. There are certain life stages. Like for example, number one, I think the main big part of people is always the HDB upgrader. This is a main part of demand. Usually HDB MOP, right? There is always people want to sell one.
Correct.
Correct.
Because usually at MOP is when there is a so-called jump in the price when the HDB hit MOP. Because usually when you buy at so-called subsidized so MOP, when you hit the resale, the people that want to sell will probably try to hit around the resale market price. So they will get so-called, if they get a profit, they are more motivated to want to sell.
So when you get profit, then we also look at are there places to upgrade? For example, do I want a bigger space? Or I go move to private. So this is always the main part of demand in Singapore.
Yes.
I feel because when MOP, right, definitely people will switch to private, switch to a bigger house. So we are not talking about new launch, private. It's generic. It's like today. Once upgrade, I wish MOP, right? I want to sell to do something this is the main part.
Bigger HDB or maybe a resale condo. Or maybe I want to try new launch.
Then the next one will be the first time couple, newlywed, all these things. This is also a life stage that they want to start their own family.
They need a roof over their head.
Like they want to move
stay together.
Don't stay with parents. Sometimes they want to move out already, to have their own space to build a family. This is the second life stage. Then the third one will be the people who reach 35 years old. Singles 35 so to buy the first HDB, first home, or maybe even they are on after 25, they are those high flyer. They can even look at resale, private, or new launch. Move in their first place. This is also another life stage. Then the fourth one will be
new citizens. Those maybe the PR they become citizen, or the foreigners become a PR. Then they will maybe start to look in owning a place in Singapore.
Because right now for foreigner to buy a house, I don't think it makes sense. Because 60% ABSD today is 1 million. Today you buy 1 million, right? We don't talk about all the tax, down payment. Your tax a bit crazy.
Unless you're super rich, which is possible.
Correct. Because the don't make sense. Because that one purchase, you are not going to buy because of money. It's maybe a cheap product. You want to keep all these things. If you want to flip for profit,
you must profit 70%.
Right?
To get 10% profit.
That's why. I don't think any investor will do it because very hard to get back.
Right. Then of course there's another stage, right? Is I would say the so-called senior citizens or people that are on the so-called older side, retirement age, that they want to actually right size. Maybe they don't need such a big house anymore. Their kids have moved out. They are maybe looking at smaller homes, to actually right size to fit their lifestyle. Because usually when you're older, right, you don't really want a big house because big house a lot of maintenance. You got to clean all these things. So there's also this group that will actually go for smaller units.
So from big to small.
Big to small, small to big.
All have. So this is one of the another life because I also help people to really right size their house. In the end of the day, why? Number one, don't want to clean so much already.
Correct.
Two, why not? I want to
cash out a bit,
get a fund so I can travel around, less stress. The last one will be investors. Taking pause on any opportunity. They are at the city sideline waiting for the interest rate dropping. And then I think a few days ago, the Fed again announced the rate cut. So they say it happened. So do they investors see something they are selling sideline once they see the market is going to come in, then they want to buy.
So what we're trying to say is that it's not just because of hype. Or not just because now there's a lot of supply, a lot of coming, everybody faster rush to buy. No, because we still have to think of the life stages of certain people that no matter what they will want to buy or they have to buy
I think in Singapore you must understand the context to have everyone chiong is very hard because we have some policy to stop us from why HDB got MOP, private got seller stamp duty.
Yes.
So people will not just buy today, sell tomorrow. Unless it's commercial lah. Commercial got.
Commercial.
I thought you commercial restaurant.
Wow.
I repeat policy. So the policies, right, like for example for HDB, right, we have MOP. For private, we have seller's stamp duty. So this prevent us from flipping the property too fast lah. We will definitely hold the property for like at least 4 to 5 years to sell. This and different people buy at different time.
Yes.
So there won't be Singapore want to buy property.
Yeah.
Because some also want to buy, got hype, cannot buy. Because they are in the policies. This is something that we can think about it. Yeah. So the key insight that you need to ask today you want to learn is today when you see supply coming in, right, is you must know that what is an oversupply. So we got this chart you can see now based on the quarter 2025, right, we get about 18, that's so you need about 18,000 then you plus we just look at this 18,000 then when you where actually 18,000 is not a lot because at that time got as high you can hear here are all the 30,000 mark 30,000 to 34,000 then after that we go down then here also about the 20,000 mark. Now we are at this part 18,000 you see if you see actually 18,000 not a lot it's actually half of what is here
Yeah.
and this part you thought oversupply maybe oversupply that's why you see the price when oversupply the price quite stable correct but when the supply drop now you see got this gap you can see the price going upwards so they must ask us today of course people want oversupply so that the price stabilize but all why we got all this data and not only we have this data the government have this data also they have this price versus supply they make sure they try to balance they find the sweet spot when to really pull out supply when to keep it stable when to close our supply.
In fact, right, if you study all this, actually who control all this? Government because government can choose launch this video, when to launch this one. Maybe this year I don't launch, I launch next year. All this is government policy. So if you really want to understand the market, right, we also have to really so-called understand what is the government thinking, what is the government planning ahead.
So right now you see they are ramping up supply. It means that they will slow down the resale market.
Yes.
Very simple. So that everyone is able to
stabilize the price.
Stabilize the price. They don't want to afford. They don't want property to be unaffordable.
Correct.
Once it becomes unaffordable to the locals, I think it will become a problem.
Yes. Okay. But then the next thing we have to also understand, because now we mostly do our HDB do all these things, right? But today even the private developers, right, are actually still bidding quite aggressively. I think we have another video which we talk in depth about the developer bidding aggressively, which you can go and watch. Why are they still bidding aggressively?
By right,
you shouldn't do anything. If you look at all the recent sales, for example, you look at River Green, 88%. If you look at Springleaf, 92%. You look at Sky at Holland, 99%. Then even Zion Grand, 84%. So you see all the percentage of the units being sold is very high. So when your units is being sold at this kind of percentage, right? Can I see as a developer, once this one sold, they have to move on to the next project already, or move on to the next land, got to buy the next land already. Because at the end of the day, developer job is what? They are here to sell units.
They need to answer the shareholder, but they build and sell.
Yes,
they are developer. If they don't develop, then
but
something
if,
is wrong.
example, the sales maybe not so good, maybe they will hold back and wait for a while. Maybe, But if the sales is good, definitely they have to look forward already.
Their land bank is lesser already. They have to replenish the land bank.
So which is why this could be one of the reasons they are bidding very aggressively. Again, people can be all very good stakes achieved.
But the thing is, you must understand today, even you read all the news, right, about oversupply, interest rate down, up, all this, actually buyers, the emotion side, not based on this type they buy one. Buyers only buy if they feel safe. Why? When the turns positive. Today, you ask me if things happen, things very big, major happen, bad things, will I want to go and buy 3 million, 1 million property?
If you think about it, remember that back then in COVID, a lot of people also hold back because why? COVID, we do not know, firstly, our job security, we don't know what happened. Lockdown, then maybe certain industry might be affected. Like tourism,
we were affected. We cannot work. We are at home. Like nothing to do.
And we don't know when it will end. So that of sentiment, right? Will people go and actually buy and go and risk or buy a 2-3 million house? I think a bit difficult.
Yeah, because job security. Correct thing is then but when then feels we won't buy. So it's not about headline all this thing. It's only when you feel safe.
Correct.
So how you feel safe? is this psychological through this thing, cycle, actually price start to move already. Like COVID, when you start to people because you start to see people buying when you see people buying you already late. Correct. But that's the point when you already feel people buy then you see a price then the sentiment has to go better then you go in. But at the end of the day who that really earn the most is the people who are here because when sentiment is not good it's always the best time to buy.
Yeah, which is why during COVID those that buy property most of them make money.
Yeah,
because they buy when everyone don't dare to buy
but then right, even a developer also very stressed they have to attract you. They have so and you get the best buy. The best buy. They also very scared. So emotionally it's very unstable That's why we have to do our research. Same thing as stock, all the trading, all these things. They have this fundamental, all these things. What are the price? What are the intrinsic value? All these things. They have this their own strategy Sometimes same as buying property, right? We also have our own set of strategy to follow. It's not about today market good then we chiong all these things because once you make the confident return, sometimes because market start to move, the supply start to absorb already. Like people start to have some already. Momentum pick up. They increase price. Then you already pay a bit of premium already. But because you paid the premium, the people who buy at here already make a bit. Then when suddenly everyone say, can already. Suddenly
all rush in.
And people who rush in to buy at the best price, the best sentiment. So you must. So to say you have to ask yourself as if something right. I know everyone want to buy make the most money about it, but in the end of the day we are right entry
Right entry so that our risk because like what he mentioned when everyone rushing to buy today imagine you are a developer. You see everyone rushing. What will you do? Will you sell higher or sell lower? You of course try to sell higher everyone rushing to buy what for I sell low? But again here will you sell high or low? No you probably price it a bit more sensitively. At the end of the day developers are also sellers so that's the key thing they also
so you have to ask yourself it's not about is it the right time, all these things, is it the right, you should assess today if you're looking at me, what's my budget and what's the timeline that you give yourself to buy something. But within certain timeline right, is there any opportunity? And in which stage of life are you? Today, are you someone that have okay, so what a big family, right? You have big family, but for big family, right, what is the range we can go? Three bedder. Then which area can we go? Then from there, can we see any opportunity, any value? Then from we can make some decision. So it's not about good time, bad time. Because in that good time, you buy also buy expensive.
Because I mean demand and supply are very macro economy. I mean like the very picture. Demand and supply. But one more thing also we need to take note is which project actually where we can find that actually get what are their pricing. Some projects, some developers, maybe their pricing a bit higher, some maybe a bit lower, maybe to location, maybe they know this demand has more, here has lesser demand. So they are pricing in that way. But at the end of the day, we need to be able to framework to know which project actually move and actually spot which one has the units that have built-in profit.
So main thing today, what Dylan has said that where can we find opportunity or the thing, right? But this opportunity also doesn't mean it will fit your lifestyle, your stage of life. So we have to sit down one-to-one to actually know more about you. To have a discussion and we also give you various options and which option really suit you more.
Again, we have another video called preference versus performance. So are you looking for something in your preference or you're looking more at performance? Which is another video, you can actually check it out.
You have to choose one. You have to choose one. You want to find I tell you very hard. A bit hard because hard to find. Because it's to me is I would say it's impossible because once you add preference and performance together it will be expensive. But when it's expensive, right? No performance already, right? So we come to the end of the video. Thank you for watching. If you like what we have shared so far, please give us a subscribe. We are working hard in a way to build
if you need any analysis, on property, right? Reach out to us.
And once again, I'm Matthew.
I'm Dylan.
We'll see you soon.